Welcome to Lot 76 Cars. My name is Simon and today we're at the fabulous Brooklands Museum for their Easter Classic Gathering. So without further ado, let's go and take a look at some of the cars, shall we? So here's the perfect companion for any fan of racing cycles. A Campagnolo Mercedes W123. Replacing the Anglia in 1968 was a bit controversial, and even Ford took out full-page advertisements to explain why they'd done it. What they came up with was the Mark I Ford Escort. Originally it was going to be called Anglia, and they changed their mind, and as it became a more European car, it picked up the Escort model name. It's got the old dog bone grille, but with the this particular version, the XL, with the lozenge-shaped lights. It's a lovely car. It looks particularly original, and it's lovely to see one that hasn't been converted into a Mexico or a Sport or likewise look-alike. That's absolutely lovely, isn't it? Now this is a rare survivor, isn't it? It's a Mazda 626 2-litre 16 valve, but this one, and I've seen it before I believe, is even more unusual because it's a four-wheel steering. Do you remember when four-wheel steering was a bit of a thing? And a few Japanese manufacturers I remember mostly, I think maybe Honda had it as well, they had four-wheel steering. Now this one is an absolute beauty, isn't it? And how many left? It says there is one, and this is it. So we truly have found a unicorn, if you can believe that website. What a lovely car, and beautiful condition, isn't it? So this is probably Robert Opren's finest work, I would say, in terms of styling. It is the Citroen SM, born out of the partnership with Maserati. Citroen owned Maserati for a while, and this is what it produced. I think it's got some parts in common with the Maserati Merak, more than you'd think actually, looking at the cars. I think more mechanically. So we're going to take a look inside of this one. The owner's given me permission. It's a Swedish market car, or the differences are probably limited to the door mirrors, he tells me. Fantastic little handle there, it presses up. Quite a deep sill to step over to get into the car. You really sit in the car, don't you? Look at those Citroen, the button for the brake, and that fantastic interior, isn't it? Look at that gear change there. Look at that gear lever rather. The radio on the side, Citroen fashion, right in there. I'm sure that's maybe convenient. Seats have survived really well. It's a decent four-seater Grand Tourer. Oh, that's absolutely lovely, isn't it? Well, thanks to the owner for letting me have a close look at that one. Citroen SM. What is not to like about that? So a left-hand drive Zodiac with what looks like an Austrian plate on the back. Is it an Austrian car? I love this sort of very American styling of Fords of the period. Americana influenced cars of this period, incredibly, didn't it? Massive amount of room in there. It's got a bench seat in the front. Don't know if camera can pick that up, and a column gear change, which I suppose in some ways is quite handy. I've never driven a car with a column gear change. I must tick that particular box at some stage in the very near future. That's lovely, isn't it? So it looks suspiciously like Knight Rider might be in town. Is that the case? I don't know. Well, it's certainly made an entrance with those lights on the front, doesn't it? So the cars are still arriving. We've got a Mark II Golf G60 in this case. We've got an MGA, we've got a HC Viva. I think, wouldn't that have been produced up in Ellesmere Port, the HC? Probably. We've got a Landcrab, uses the same doors that a Maxi uses, and the Austin 3-litre. Quite a long body on those. Looks in immaculate condition. I bet that'll be at the BMC and Leyland show. We've got an MGB, and to top it off, we've got a Land Rover 110. Listen to that purr. What's that, a V8, a Chrysler? Just absolutely purrs, doesn't it? Beautiful. Wow, just listen to that all day. What a great car the Interceptor is. So many people think the smart choice is the 309 GTI rather than the 205 GTI, a longer wheelbase, a bit more room in the car. It does share the doors from a 205, bizarrely, and they do seem to work. Originally this car was actually slated to be the Talbot Arizona. I think it was the Arizona, but the takeover of Talbot and the integration within the Peugeot group gave Peugeot a mid-size hatchback, and that looks a great car, doesn't it? I'd love to have a go in one of those. Driven a 205 but never driven one of these. Original right hand drive car with those lovely flecked red seats. Sorry, it might not show too well on camera. It's got the factory roof, which can be a bit problematical for some of these, but it was quite a desirable option at the time. And there you go, 309 GTI 5-door, lovely. So this generation of small BMW followed on from the successful Neue Class, the larger one, and BMW wanted a piece of the smaller car action, and this is the fabled TII, Touring Injection International. Hardly rolls off the tongue, but these are special little machines, and doesn't it look lovely in that signal orange with the lamps on the front? Just really sets it off. I bet that's an agile little car to drive as well. So I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Please like, share and subscribe to check out more videos like this. There is plenty more to come in this video, so please keep watching. So this is an unusual find, isn't it? Apparently from the first year of production, it's a 78 build but a 79 UK registered Opel Monza 3 litre. Okay, there's a wiper on the lights moment going on there. I don't know if they still work, but who cares? They look cool, don't they? It is glorious in this sort of antique gold colour. I'll try and find out what the correct name of that colour is. It wears its years well, doesn't it? To be honest with you, it needs a little bit of paint work. I think the owner's got it sort of work in progress. We've got to take a look inside at the velour interior. I know you'll won't be happy unless we do that, so the owner's given me permission to have a look inside. And let's sink in that velour. Yes, carpeted and velour door cards. Bit of wood on the dash there as well. That binnacle, that sort of Vauxhall Opel type binnacle. This is so of its time, isn't it? I bet those seats are comfy, aren't they? So apparently this is the only one left from 1979 on UK roads. So we're pretty glad to have seen it, I guess. Now I guess these would have been pretty expensive back in the day. It's the Hillman Super Minx as called, and the Super Minx picked up this different styling. You can see those half circle indicators. What stands out with these cars is that the cleanness of the design on it as well, and to some extent the herald next to it. And there is no B-pillar. You've got right the way through, you've got quite a bit of space. You've got a floor mounted change on this one rather than column. You've got the slides and dashboard. Oh, it's even got a clock. Well, there you go, eh? The owner's added his own cup holder, and who can blame him? We all like a coffee. And there's a reasonable amount of space in the back. And again, sort of this American influence of the Finns still going on at this period with Roots Group. That's lovely, isn't it? So XJ, or experimental Jaguar, this is the Mark 1 introduced in '68. The last car I think Lions was really directly involved with. The original cars had the lower bumper. Later, I think Mark 2 onwards, bumpers were raised for US crash protection. But these are absolutely fantastic cars. Famed ride quality. This one's a beauty. Oh, it's a manual with an overdrive. Oh, it is unusual, isn't it? What a lovely colour. It's even got the original sticker in the back. I think it's 2.8. Saunders Abbots of Beckenham. Wow, it looks quite an original car, doesn't it? It looks like it's not been dressed up. It looks like it is. Absolutely beautiful, isn't it? So let's take a look at the Celica now. This has got those, what I call them, semi-pop-up lights on there. Those lights, they just tilt forward. It's got washers on them as well. It would have been from a time when Toyota, like all the Japanese manufacturers, were restricted on how many cars they could sell in the UK. This one looks super original. It's not been raced to death or drifted to death. Got the original wheels on there. Oh, it's in great condition, isn't it? I think this body shell actually was donated to the Supra as well. I think because it was actually originally called the Celica Supra. What a great car, and a rare one, I guess. So this would be one of the first A20, A30 generation Celicas ever sold. I'm not sure if it's an original UK car. I suspect not, because those mirrors, wing mirrors in this case, were probably domestic Japanese editions. It's in beautiful order, isn't it? I love this green colour. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up. Sort of khaki colour, some lovely details on the badging, really trying to imitate the pony cars from Ford of the period. Some lovely detail features. I love those pioneer of their time speakers. Didn't we all put those in the back of our cars and butchered our parcel shelves as a result? But that is a beauty, isn't it? So who doesn't love a 190? Well, I do, but I don't often see a 190 SL. I think this was produced, it's certainly in the style of the Gullwing cars and maybe fitted in beneath them in terms of pricing. Love those blistered wheel arches there, beautiful in a red leather interior, sort of Bakelite steering wheel. The material before plastic, look it up on the internet. A bit of luggage space, or a bit of space in the back as well. Oh, doesn't that look absolutely lovely? I'm liking that one. I'm liking that one a lot. Absolutely lovely Fiat 850 Coupe. I love the details on this one, the checkerboard roof. Obviously for a bit more airflow, that rear engine is a bit like some of the Abarths. It's propped open. Can be done by design rather than by accident. It's even got a Ferrari badge on there. I'm not sure about that, but what a lovely little coupe that is. So this is a Nova, and Nova was a kit car, and a very well done kit car. I think these were based on a Beetle chassis. This particular one, I know I've seen it before, I think it has the drivetrain from an Alfa. So it's got a lot of show and actually a fair bit of go. It must be pretty light. So this generation of Ford, the Consul, was Ford's first unibody construction car, and it actually replaced the very antiquated Ford V8 Pilot, which was an American import. So they really went after the family car market with this one. I think shown in the early 50s, maybe 50 at the Earl's Court show, and really quite a special car. Really stepped forward from the V8 Pilot. This one's got some lovely period features, those eyelashes, what do we call them? I can't think of the term now. I love that bonnet emblem there as well. It's got a typical period feel there with the sun visor, which quite a few cars have, probably quite effective actually. This one's got bench seats and it's a column gear change, and it's even got a very lovely Breton period picnic box. And if you didn't need, if you needed a bit more extra space, you've got the luggage rack on the back. Doesn't that look nice? Really so of its time, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. And next to it, I think we've got a Vauxhall Velox as well. I guess these cars may well be together. You know, we've got the 50s lives here today in Brooklands. This one's also pretty lovely. Lovely Velox detail in there, and again a very strong bonnet emblem. You wouldn't get away with that these days, would you? For passenger, for pedestrian safety rather. What a lovely, great pair of 50s cars. So producing a very useful 220 brake horsepower is this E12 535 BMW. Well, I've got to have a bit of a moment with those that wiper arrangement on the lights. Love that motorsport styling, striping. A proper spoiler on the back of it. Let's try and get a shot out of that one, because there's a few people about here. Naturally, it's turning out to be a great day. What a great car. I would absolutely want to take one of those home. As you know, I've got an E39, but I could find room for an E12 if I only had the budget. So this Ford Thunderbird, I think it's a 64. I'm pretty sure one of these was used in one of the Bond films. Not sure it was a hard top. It goes on and on and on and on and on. The passenger space, well, there's plenty of room for passengers front and rear. But look at that rear deck. It's absolutely massive, isn't it? And just in case you didn't have room in the boot, they put the spare wheel in that fantastic chrome carrier on the back. That is a hell of a long car, isn't it? Possibly the answer to the question nobody asked is, who needs a Bentley Mulsanne Turbo Estate? Well, here we've got one that was, it's an interesting colour scheme, I'll give it that. It was produced by a company up in Lancashire, I think Coway of Lancashire. It's got some pretty unique badging on there as well. It seems to retain the lights of the original vehicle, but in this shooting brake format. Well, it looks to have been quite well done. And it is absolutely a one-off. God knows what the original cost is. I think this sold for about 28,000 a few years ago, but a fraction of probably what it cost to build. Well, there you go. Bentley Mulsanne Turbo Estate. So this is a pretty rare car. I think built in the hundreds. It is an AC ME 3000, developed or designed by a couple of ex-Lola engineers, I think. Went on sale in '79. But had a very short production life. Quite an interesting car, a mid-engined, I believe it uses the 3-litre Ford Essex engine, but with quite a well-made glass fibre body. In actual fact, probably goes like stink because it's extremely lightweight. But you are unlikely to see too many of those. I've seen a couple in my time doing shows, and this is only the second one. So developed by, I think, BMC or Austin on behalf of the Nash Motor Company in the USA, quite a big motor manufacturer. They wanted a small vehicle to appeal to housewives or ladies or whatever you could say at the time, and that was their target market. And they developed this sort of very wide overhang. It reminds me of one of those Commer vans in a way. There's quite a fair bit of space in it. There's actually some room in the back. What a quirky little car. That wraparound screen, I'm not sure it was a particularly great sales success, but it's certainly absolutely a standout choice, isn't it there? It's certainly, you know, Shrinking Violet owning one of those. So this was Ford's first foray into front wheel drive with Escort. It's the Mark III, codenamed Erica, introduced I think in '80 under the tagline "Simple is efficient." They did have some challenges to try and explain to the enthusiasts why they'd gone for front wheel drive, which was obviously the way forward, but they persevered and managed it. But in actual fact, this one is in superb condition. Love this antique gold finish. I think the original owner owned it in the UK and then took it back to Ireland when he retired, and it was turned back to the UK not so long ago. What a pretty rare car these days for something that was on every street corner. Again, probably under the category of street furniture, but now seldom seen, is this Ford. Now you might think it's an Orion, but by this stage Ford had actually started to badge these as the Escort, and they dropped the Orion name. Now this car has a great story. It had its first owner from new up until 2022, and spent most of its life actually in the streets of London, in Camberwell in actual fact. Hasn't it survived well? And I don't think it's probably seen a motorway until fairly recently, according to what the owners put on the screen, but it certainly is a survivor. And when did you see one of those? So Volvo persevered with this design right from I think 1974. It lost the snowplow bumpers, but basically it's the same car. Now this particular owner has done absolutely loads of work. I was having a chat with him earlier on today. It's Vicky the Volvo. It's from 1989, and it's he bought it in 2017, and he's had quite a lot of work to it. It's still a bit rusty. Volvos did resist the rust very well, but like all cars, they eventually do give in some places, but it's his pride and joy. So hello Vicky the Volvo. Yeah, you see a few Marinas about, but you don't see so many Marina pickups, at least not in that order. Isn't that lovely? That must have been a proper workhorse back in the day. I don't know if it really was used by Tolworth service station in Tolworth, Surrey, but if it was, it's certainly been a survivor. Probably one for the BMC and Leyland show, that one, I suspect. So one of my all-time favourites, the Dolly Sprint, introduced I think in 72 or something like that. 16 valve head on the engine, developed by Coventry Climax, lapping Myra test circuit, I don't know, 160 miles an hour. It really was massively ahead of its time. Quite a modern powertrain in a body style that had been out for a few years, but did have some reliability issues at the time, as I recall, but absolutely fabulous in touring car racing. The Sprint, they're quite tiny inside. This is a manual overdrive. There's a few automatics kicking about, but that's nice as well, isn't it? So who doesn't love an early Vauxhall Nova with those blistered arches that the 3 doors came with? It's even got the pressed number plates. I've seen this one before. It's from 84. It says it's a 1 litre. Love those checkered seats. Oh, it's got the rear wash wipe, and of course it's been in Festival of the Unexceptional. Yes, it's quite rightly so. It's had its moment of fame. Beautiful. So Thames was the commercial division of Ford, and they produced this Thames, I think it was called Thames Trader, but this is the crew bus version of the vehicle. Now this one, particularly useful vehicle. It's got much wider banded steel wheels, but this is the difference. They've moved the engine back and they've thrown what was in there away, and they've replaced it with a Dodge Charger engine. My goodness, that must be quite a feat of engineering, and this is very, very subtly done. You can see the amount of, let's have a look at the amount of pipe work there to the engine to get the airflow into the engine. Good Lord, that's something else, isn't it? Well, you've got to admire people who engineer things like this where there is no manual for it, no proven territory, and this is what they've come up with. Absolutely epic, isn't it? From launch, the XR3 came with a carburettor engine, then was replaced by this XR3i. Now this one's for sale, this beautiful Caspian blue example, got those lovely Ford spot lamps on it. These were the cars to have. It's got the factory roof as well, which is quite a desirable option. Sunroof, forget about air conditioning, it wasn't even an option back then. And it's got the telephone dial, so-called telephone dial wheels, which mark this one out. It's in lovely condition, isn't it? We can certainly tick the British sports car box, can't we? It's got a beautiful XK. These were shown, can you believe it or not, back in 1948 first shown. What a beautiful car. A very late, or a late-ish E-Type when it got the longer body and the V12 engine. A Triumph TR4, I don't know if it's an IRS or not. We've got a very early Series 3 E-Type fixed head. I don't know, that I'm not so quite sure about the styling of the the 2+2. The fixed head I think is probably a tad prettier. And if we walk down a bit further, we've got a few more XKs and a great turnout by the Triumph Club, the Triumph Group, and the Triumph Club of London. So take your pick. I think I've seen this one here before, and it's sad that I know this one. I reckon this is Valencia Blue, which is a very unusual colour for one of these. I'm sure I've seen this car at a local show, and it's in beautiful order and a colour that you certainly don't see. It's TR4A IRS, standing for Independent Rear Suspension. That is very, very nice, isn't it? Especially in that colour. So powered by, I think initially an Austin engine, I think it was a 4-litre engine, is this beautiful Jensen 541. Now quite a few unusual features with this particular car. You see the what was in the place of the grille, that panel there is actually controlled inside, and you can either close off airflow or increase airflow according to temperature, which is quite handy, quite innovative. It's also got, unusually, what was new material then back in the day was Perspex side windows, and I believe a Perspex rear window as well. I think these are incredibly pretty cars, to be honest with you. And I must admit, this one was rescued from a barn by the current owner. A previous owner back in the day was quite a famous racing driver in the 50s. That's quite some provenance for a car, isn't it? So this is another really rare car, I guess. It's a Bond coupe. So based on the Triumph Herald chassis, this is a later car, less recognisable Herald parts like the doors. They must have updated those. This fastback styling, and Bond were better known for producing micro cars rather than sports cars, but they produced this, I think, up in Preston. Now, Reliant decided to buy Bond, and the reason for buying Bond had a great relationship with Triumph and could sell these through the Triumph dealer network because of their relationship. Now, I think pretty much Reliant thought they'd be able to do the same by buying the company, but sadly it didn't happen, and the only Bond that survived that relationship into Reliant, I think, was the little orange Bond Bug. This one bit the dust, I think. So this striking looking land crab is a ute or a pickup or whatever you want to call it. Being right hand drive, I suspect it was either a South African or Australian built car. I think BMC had production in both of those countries, and I tell you what, if it looks in absolutely beautiful condition. Isn't it striking in that colour? I think that is that's one of my standouts actually so far. I think that's a lovely pickup. So famously, one of these is now owned by Harry Metcalf on Harry's Garage, and it is a Lancia Fulvia Zagato, an S. Actually, what a beautiful looking little car they are. Hand built by Zagato. According to Harry, no panel was the same. I think it really was hand built. I think a tape measure was probably in order, but it was probably done by eye, a lot of it. The rear hatch as such, I'm not sure that fully opens. I think it might be more for ventilation, but I stand corrected. If you know different, put it in the comments, please. So Ford introduced the Mark III and went initially for hatchback. Now this car, this is a Granada Scorpio, very safe car. ABS was fitted as standard, one of the first production cars to have it. This is one of less than 30, and apparently this one was a one of one because it was produced by a company called Ultimax, who did a 3.7 litre engine upgrade to the car. One thing I do remember from being in these back in the day is the amount of room in them. You recognise that fuel computer there, all that Ford switchgear. That leather looks nice. Look at the period mobile phone. You wouldn't even be allowed to touch that these days, would you? Beautiful and in great condition. Got the factory roof in there. We'll have a look in the back. Now, one of the standout features of these cars on all of them was the amount of legroom. Now look at that. The amount of legroom in these, even now, is still pretty amazing these days, isn't it? And that fastback styling, I like these, and I think, to be honest with you, these are getting super rare. Really lovely to see that one. So under the shade of Concorde's incredible wings is this beautiful Range Rover. What would it be, a Suffix A? Is it an early one? Maybe a Suffix B car, I suspect. Then we've got a couple of C or W124 chassis, but especially C124 coupes. The first one is a Turbo Techniques car, it says, which must make that pretty rare and probably an expensive car back in the day. We've got another Jaguar XJ. We've got a Land Rover that's for sale, 1974 petrol. And we've got, what's this one? This is probably a, is it a Studebaker? It is a Studebaker, I was right. It's a Studebaker. That's pretty unusual to find one of those in the UK, I would have thought. We've got a rather savage looking Ford Cortina, and we'll try and take a closer look at that one. A very nice TR3, I think. And the guy who designed the Black & Decker designed these little beauties, a Lotus Europa in JPS period colours. And next to it, for completeness, we've got a Ferrari Mondial. Something for everybody, I think. So when two ailing companies got together, Innocenti and British Leyland, they did manage to produce this little baby. It's an Innocenti 120L. Produced, I think, only for the European market. Really, I suppose it's what the Mini should have been in its later days had they developed it. This is a lovely car. I know the owner's done a lot of work on this because I've seen it in the past, and quite a practical and useful little hatchback. So sorry, we're just walking into somebody's shot here, but there you go. Now, I seem to say that quite often. It's a pretty rare car to see these days, but genuinely I think this is. It's a Subaru Justy. It's not just any Justy, but it's got the four-wheel drive Subaru powertrain, so incredibly useful. And these must be pretty thin on the ground. It looks like it's probably a one owner from new. It's got the original dealer plates on the Subaru Cheam motors even. Wow. I suspect this Citroen GS was another Robert Opron design whilst at Citroen. Now, some of the early cars, the company experimented with a Wankel rotary engine that nearly bankrupted them, but thankfully they decided to drop that due to I think probably to the warranty claims, and continue with something which is a bit more conventional. This is in GS Palace format, which I understand was probably the highest level of trim. Inexplicably, these early cars were booted rather than a hatchback as the shape would imply, but I think they did go to hatchback in the GSA days. Please stick it in the comments if you know differently, but that one is in lovely order, isn't it? And you can see the similarity of it, a scaled down CX, I guess. So thanks again for watching me at the Brooklands Easter Classic Gathering. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please like, share and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.